Here is one enzyme model. We have our enzyme, which is a protein made of amino acids. It has an active site. The substrate comes in and it fits onto that active site, which allows the enzyme to hold the molecule in such a way that it is easy to break the substrate into the product. Or you could think of it as lowering the activation energy. And the enzyme is a catalyst because it can be used many times, it doesn't change its shape, and it speeds up the reaction. Here's another enzyme model. This one's made out of cardboard. It has some Velcro, although sometimes people use toothpicks to hold them together here. But here's the enzyme. It's a protein made of amino acids. It has an active site. The substrate comes into the active site, and the enzyme holds in such a way that it lowers the activation energy needed for the reaction to take place. So it's easy for the substrate to break into those two products. Again, the enzyme is a catalyst, which means that it speeds up the reaction without being changed itself, so it can be used many times. This is another one. It's made of fabric that can stick onto this cool little board. So we have our enzyme, substrate, and then those substrates come into, this one has the active site labeled with a little arrow right here. So it comes into the active site, and then it breaks into, or actually the substrates come together into the active site, and then you move these arrows, and afterwards it becomes the product, just like that. Here's another one made out of a soda can. We have our enzyme, a protein. The active site is labeled. Ideally you'd have an arrow right to here to show that it's the edge of the enzyme. Where you have the substrate, should read substrate, come in, and then it changes it into the product. Another one is made out of an egg carton, where the bottom of the egg carton is the enzyme. The interior should have active site labeled on it, but the substrate comes into the enzyme at the active site, and then it breaks it into the product. I really like this one. It's an Easter egg, and so we have our enzyme right here. It's written kind of in dark purple. It has an active site right here. The substrate comes into the active site, and then it breaks it into the two products. You see it says product 1, product 2. One last example is this one was made on cardboard, and it has little folded up pieces of paper to show that this is the enzyme with the active site. The substrate comes into the enzyme right at the active site, and then in the second picture it's showing the substrate break into the products. You could also have two pieces of substrate that then combine into products. But those are some examples of different ways that you can do your 3D enzyme model.